Hey there, my name is Kelly Dale with Off the Beaded Path. Today I want to show you how to make the orb earrings. These earrings go with the orb bangles from my previous video. For these earrings, you're going to need 3 grams of a size 11 Delica. These Delicas are going to be the base of the earring, just like the size 8 Delicas were for the bangle. You're also going to need 3 grams of a size 15 seed bead, as well as 33mm Bicones. Now, if you want, you can use a 3mm fire polish round or a 3mm pearl. Either of those will work in addition to the Bicone. I'm also going to be using 2 6mm or 8mm size jump rings, whichever you have handy, and 1 set of ear hooks. I'm also going to be using 4 yards of a either 6-pound fire line, or I'm going to be using the 1G thread. Now, if you use the fire line, again, do not go over 6 pounds or you're going to be busting some of your size 15 seed beads and you're going to get really frustrated. So don't go over the 6 pound. You're going to start with 2 yards and you want to put a needle onto each end. This is going to be working just exactly like we did the bangle. We're going to start out at the center and then work our way out on each side. This is going to help that base be nice and sturdy across and have the same tension throughout. If you feel like you can do this and keep the same tension without getting tight in the beginning and loose at the end, or loose in the beginning to tight on the end, then you can do that. You can work one row and continue working. But I personally am a very tight stitcher, so I know for me I have to use the 2 needles. And also, to me, this just helps make the earrings a little bit easier. These took a really long time to design, and I think it was just mainly lots of trial and error, the same way with the bangle, just figuring out the counts and what we're going to work right. So I'm going to get my materials set up and we'll get started, but just remember, we're going to start out with the 2 yards with a needle on each end. So here are the hoop earrings that I have made and designed to go with the bangle bracelets from last week. And as you can see, they're super, super close to being identical. But I just love these. They're really simple to make and they're quick. So I think you're really going to enjoy these. This is the matte, let me grab that color real quick so I can remember here. This is the matte metallic gold I used for the base. Then I used a higher metallic iris olivine for my 15, and then I used a 3mm copper bicone for these. The sample I'm actually going to do for you today is one that I am absolutely loving. This is Luminous Delica, a size 11. This is the DB 2052, and I'm loving it because it is super close to the topaz seam foam that I have been all about this summer. Then I'm using a galvanized starlight for the 15s, and then my 3mm are white opal, so you can really see them good through those little openings. So again, this is the color sample I'm going to do for you today. So let me get all my stuff straightened up here and then we'll get started. So I've got my 2 needles threaded, 1 on each end, and you're just going to start with 1 needle. And the first thing that you'll want to do is going to take you just a little while. You'll want to thread on 60 size 11 Delicas. So thread on 60 and double count to make sure that you have 60 Delica beads in your circle. I now have my 60 beads added, and I have triple checked them to make sure I'm right. So I used a needle that was on this right hand side. So using that same needle, I'm going to come back to the first bead here on the left. This was the very first bead that I added, and I'm going to go through that 1 bead, and I'm going to hold that bead in place and pull the thread, and it's going to make a ring just like this. Now we're going to work some peyote stitch. Yes, I know some of you hate that dreaded P word, but it's not bad. So I'm coming out of 1 Delica, I am going to pick up one Delica. I'm going to skip one Delica and go through the next one. So you skip one, you pick up one, you skip one, and you go through one. Now I'm going to put my finger on that and I'm going to pull the thread. And you'll want to keep enough tail, or you'll want to hold the tail thread in your left hand, or if you're right-handed, you'll want to keep it in that right hand so that you'll be able to hold this tight and get it like you need it. Getting it started is the hardest part. Once you get it started, it's not bad. Then you pick up a Delica. I'm coming out of this one. I'm going to skip one, and I'm going to go through one, which is this one here. And again, I'm going to put my finger on it, and I'm going to pull. Pick up a Delica. Then you're going to skip a Delica and go through the next Delica. So you're doing your building blocks is what I call them. So one more time, we are going to pick up a Delica, skip a Delica, and go through a Delica. And you'll want to do this all the way around your piece, keeping the threads pulled tight so that they will lay exactly like they need to. I've gone all the way around my circles, adding my size 11 Delicas, and I'm back to the beginning because here's my tail thread, and I can, as you can see, if I lay this out flat here, I only have one more bead that I can add. So I pick up my bead, I'm going to skip one, and I'm going to go through one. But now this time, when I go through that last bead on the row, I'm going to go ahead and step up. So I'm going to step up by going through the last bead on the row, and then the first bead I added on this row. And then pull that snugly there. And now we're going to start working with this needle. So we're going to take that needle. Let me grab a hold of my needle here. There we go. And the first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to step up, because right now you're coming out of a center bead here. So to step up, I'm just going to go through the bead, and I can go through this bead here, but I already have a thread on this side, on this right side. So I'm going to go here to the left, and I'm going to go through the bead in that stack that's to the left. Pull that on through. Here we go. So now all we're going to do is pick up one Delica and go through the next Delica sticking up on that side. And what's going to happen is that bead is going to pop right into the little hole that you have there. And we're going to do this all the way around. So you're going to pick up a Delica and go through the next Delica that's sticking up on that side. And you can turn this if you want to. You can turn it and work upward if that helps you. So that all you have to do is pick up a Delica and go through the next one sticking up. And you're going to do this all the way around until you have one bead. I've gone around the circle and I have one bead left to add here in the round. So I'm going to pick up one Delica, and I'm going to go through the last bead in the round, which is going to be, if I can get a hold of it here, if we skip one and then we go through the next bead sticking up, it's going to be this one right here. But as you can see, once we go through that one, we don't have anywhere else that we can go. So we have to step up by going through the first bead in the row, which is going to be that bead right there. So we're actually going to be going through two beads at one time. And so when you hold this and you pull, it'll pop that bead in place. So now you're ready for the next row. Now if you want to, you can go ahead and continue with this needle for one more row, or you can pick up this one. It doesn't matter. But either side that you do, you are going to pick up one Delica and go through the next Delica sticking up. We're going to do that all the way around. Now, here you see you have a row of 3 and a row of 2. Then we'll have a row of 3 and a row of 2. You're going to continue flip-flopping back and forth, adding your rows until you have a row of 4 and a row of 3. A row of 4 and a row of 3. Now I've gone all the way around, adding my rows, and as you can see, as I told you a few minutes ago, you wanted to complete them until you had a row of 4, a row of 3, a row of 4, a row of 3. And I stepped up with each thread. Now we're going to be adding these side embellishments. They're going to hold our crystals into place. So I'm going to pick up one size 15 seed bead, and I'm going to go straight through the next Delica that's sticking up. I'll pick up 3 size 15 seed beads and go through the next Delica sticking up. Now when you do this, you'll want to pull it so that those beads pop into place and make a little point. And we're going to repeat, picking up 115 and going straight through the next Delica, and 3 15s and go through the next Delica. And remember, pull them so that they pop into place just like this. And we're going to go around the piece alternating the pattern of 115, 3 15s, 115, 3 15s until you get all the way back around. Once you've gone all the way around, this is what your piece will look like. I've gone through the last Delica in the row, and you want to step up to this point here. So we have to go through the 15, the 11 Delica, and 2 15s. And you can't really do that all in one step, so you have to do it, go through a few beads at a time here. So that that needle is coming out of the middle bead of that point. I'm going to put that needle down, and I'm going to pick up the other needle. Now this side needs to be identical to this side. So where I'm coming out is where I actually start the our repetition. So I'll be picking up 115 and going through the next Delica, and then 3 15s and going through the next Delica that's sticking up. And again, just like we did on the other side, you want to pull it till it pops in place. So you'll continue around the ring, picking up 115, and on the next little step, 3 15s, and pull them till they pop in place. And you'll continue around the circle, and once you get around, you'll step up through the middle 15 just like you did on this side. Now that I've gone all the way around, you can see I've stepped up here and here. Again, only working with one needle, we're going to be adding the crystal embellishments. So for my example, I'm coming out, my thread is exiting, I should say, to the right. I've picked up 1 3mm bicone, and I'm going to go to the point opposite where my thread is coming out. So I'm going to go to this point, and I'm going to go through that bead going from right to left. Now I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to go back through the bicone once more, and I'm going to put my finger on top of it as I pull to keep it in place. And I'm going to go through the point 15 here, going from left to right, and pull that thread. And so when you do that, let me see if I can get it to, there we go. When you do that, what happens is that puts a thread on each side of these 15s, and it keeps that bead completely centered. Now we have to get to the next point. So to do that, I'm going to stitch through the next 15 and Delica, and then 15 Delica, and then two 15s of the next point. And it's okay, you can squeeze it and to make it round. It doesn't have to stay flat, just like the bangle. Pick up one 3mm. My thread is exiting to the right here at the bottom. So I'm going to come to the 15 opposite, and I'm going to go through that 15, going from right to left through that bead. Now take the needle and go back through that 3mm again, and I'm going to put my finger on top of it as I pull the thread. Then go through that point 15 here at the bottom, and I'm going to go from left to right through that bead so that it centers my bead and keeps it in place. Now you have to continue on through the 15, the Delica, then the 15, the Delica, and two 15s. And you will continue around the circle until you've added the 3mm embellishments at every point. Once you've gone all the way around, this is what your little wheel will look like. And you're going to go ahead and tie that specific thread off that you used to add your 3mm bicones. So you can be done with that and only have one needle left to work with. So with this needle, the great part about it is you've already stepped up. It's exactly where you need it to be to start working. And this is where we're going to add the embellishments over these crystals. And so to do that, you're going to need your 15s and just a few of your 11s. And you're going to pick up two 15s, an 11, and two 15s. And go through the point bead, that middle bead of the next point. This is going to be the bead where you added the crystal to. Two 15s, an 11, and two 15s, and you go through the next middle point, and you're just going to continue doing this around the circle, doing two 15s, an 11, and two 15s. And once you've gone all the way around, you're going to step up by going through the first two 15s and 11 of this first little loop that you made. Once you've gone all the way around, this is what this side of your wheel will look like, and this is what the other side will look like. I've stepped up by going through the first two 15s and the 11 Delica. Now comes the hard part, and this might be hard for people who don't have great dexterity in their hands, because you have to pull this really nice and tight as you work. If you have a problem with pulling this tight, you may actually want to add three 15s, a Delica, and three 15s on this side. And then I'm going to pick up two, but if you have a hard time pulling this tight and getting it centered, you may want to pick up three to make this X shape. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. I've got two 15s, and I'm coming out of the 11 Delica. I'm going to come to the next point bead, and I'm going to go through just that point bead there on the other side. And I'm going to pull that tight. Now two 15s, and go through the middle Delica of the next little piece of netting. Now, you want to pull it tight because that little Delica should be centered in our piece. Now, two Delicas, and go through the next point bead on this right side. And again, you got to keep it pulled tight so it'll keep that Delica in the center. If you don't keep it pulled tight, that Delica is going to go off to one side. And I keep it kind of pushed together like this as I work. Two 15s, and you go through this middle Delica here on the left. And these little bad boys can give you a hard time trying to get through them. And pull tight, and then 2 15s, and you go through the next point. So basically all you're doing is a zigzag so that your beads will be pulled tight around your crystals. So 2 15s and go through the 11O Delica. Well, that didn't go well. Pull that back out. So I guess you don't want to do that one, that one little piece there. Make sure you only go through 1 point bead instead of going through 2 point beads. And each time you go around, just be sure to pull it good and tight so that 11 Delica can be centered. If you have a hard time with this, and you have a hard time with the dexterity, God, it's driving me crazy. I got a new camera and it's not focusing in as well as the other one. But pulling that bead tight will help you. If you can't pull it tight, make sure you do 3 Delicas or 3 15s, a Delica and 3 15s, and then on this side you would pick up 3 15s, go through the Delica, and then pick up 3 15s. Now if you do that, it's going to make this, instead of laying flat like that is, it's going to make it lay higher up, so just be aware of that. But each time it's just 2 and go through the Delica, and then pull it tight, and then 2 and go through the point bead on the other side. And you're going to continue this around the whole piece, doing your embellishments. And this one is actually finished, so you can see what it looks like. But you're going to go ahead, and once you finish those embellishments, you're going to tie the thread off and be completely done with your earring component. Now that you've gone all the way around, this is what your piece will look like. And you can add whatever kind of bail you want to. Like if you want to come out of a crystal, or you want to come out of a seed bead and add like a seed bead bail, that's totally up to you. I like to just take a jump ring, and this is a 6mm jump ring is what I'm using, and I'm going to open up the ring, and I'm going to slide it under where a size 11 Delica is. Slide it right up under that little X shape. Then I'm going to thread on 1 ear hook and close it. And then repeat those steps on the second earring so that you will have a completed set. And as you can see, they're really, really fun. And the colors are a lot of fun to deal with because you've got a lot of different colors. And these earrings are about the size of a silver dollar, so I'll give you kind of an example of how big they are. But these are the Orb Earrings. So I hope you enjoyed the Orb Earrings. We do have the written pattern for sale on our website, which is offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com, as well as 3 different color kits, 2 that I showed you today, and then 1 that is black and silver. So it's really great for people like my friend Amy, who thinks black is a primary color. So and Amy, I'm just giving you a hard time about that. But again, I hope that you guys enjoyed. Be sure and come back next time, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.